Hi guys, this is AC Gamer back with another video on Nikke Goddess of Victory. Now I wanted to talk about the future meta or like endgame content for Nikke Goddess of Victory because I've seen a lot of people not really understand the benefit of building a mono specific team. Now with the release for the summer, Mary as well as Neon, because we know Neon is going to be dealing extra damage to fire based enemy, they are looking like Nikke is trying to push for characters that does extra damage for specific enemy types. Now, in terms of endgame and min-maxing your account and your characters, absolutely using the characters that have better better elements or has an advantage element against the enemy would be the best thing to do. For example, Drake is a fire character, and if you go over to here, she does extra damage, so 10% extra damage to wind types to wind types enemy. Now one thing to note in this game is the fact that endgame is basically a union raid. So union raid, in my opinion, I don't focus too much on because I actually don't find it too interesting, but union raid is important for endgame because you get a lot of resources, much needed items to get dupes for the liberation characters, to get resources to upgrade your cubes, your harmony cubes. And then the other endgame content in this game is solo raid as well as joint operation as well, but mainly specific arena a union raid as well as this content solo raid. Now if you take a look at the ranking can go absolutely nutty, honestly, in terms of the amount of damage people can do. Now the amount of gems you get from union raid is actually pretty good as well and substantial in terms of your ranking. Number one gets 6,000. Obviously if you're free to play, don't even bother trying that. And then as you go down, you get less and less. However, you can see that if you're able to rank 1%, 2%, you're able to get 1,800, 1,200. However, if you don't focus on solo raid and you're just ranking about like 20%, sorry about that, you're only getting 900, 800, and if you rank even lower, you're getting 700. Now comparing that to the maximum amount of stuff you can get for just ranking like 1%, 2%, you can notice there's a huge discrepancy with the gems. So obviously trying to place as high as possible within your solo raid is going to be absolutely important. Now with this new specific solo raid, having a blue character is important to break the interruption stuff. Now in the teams that I've seen, building some blue type characters have been pretty solid in ranking characters or ranking players very high. Blue types are the best to go ahead and use in the current solo raid, and I believe in the future, as more solo raid comes out, we will see similar mechanic being introduced or mainly focused on not just right now it's blue, but in the future it could be red characters, green characters, and then you will need to have a good team to help you increase your damage. Now if Nikke is planning to do that, then they can go ahead and release more characters in the future that specifically only works against certain team, and then this can actually help with power creep as well. And this can also mean if you want to mid-max your account, you can go for this specific character, but mainly free-to-play players are going to be looking at this mono specific team as not really necessary or a must-have for free-to-play players. As free-to-play players, you're just working on characters that are just good everywhere, characters that you don't need to build a specific team around, characters that we can use everywhere. So characters like Modernia, characters like Scarlet, your main damage dealers right now in the game currently don't need a specific team around. But in the future, if you want to mid-max and increase the damage, I do have a feeling that Nikke is going to carry on releasing supportive character that only buff specific elemental type, and the buff will be higher than the general buffs we get. Now I feel like Litsa is the only character that kind of breaks that, because Litsa is absolutely insane. She doesn't need to be in a specific team to provide you with this cooldown reduction for your burst, burst and ammo capacity and all of this stuff, and the flat increase in attack. But I feel like if they want to power creep Litsa or make a character just as good as Litsa without getting rid of Litsa, then they can release another character similar to Litsa in terms of buffing capabilities, but have a subtext where you can only use that character in a specific team. For example, buff attack of a blue type or buff attack of green type, all that stuff. So I feel like in the future, to change the meta or to change the flow, Nikke devs might be thinking to do that. And obviously right now I don't think working on a specific team is that important, because gaining extra 10% damage and summoning for a character that works against that really isn't the greatest. But moving forward, if Nikke are focusing on prioritizing on also damage buffs caused by different elements, then absolutely, if there is a character that can increase the additional damage by a lot more, then it's going to be beneficial for free-to-play players to, try and aim for specific mono teams. But I personally don't really like that idea, honestly, because mono teams, I hate it. For example, Tower of Fantasy has like, you build a specific mono team. It sucks for free-to-play players because you basically have to essentially skip every single character, focus on one specific mono team, because as a free-to-play player, you probably can't go for and build every single mono team unless they keep adding them into the standard banner. But in the case of the limited characters coming out right now with Neon as well as Mary, they are probably going to be characters that you can only build or will deal extra damage or be extra useful in a specific team against specific enemy. Currently, Mary, a lot of people still do not like her skills. I think she's actually going to be very, very strong. Many people are underestimating the potential of Mary, and many people can't see the future changes that could happen to propel Mary to be absolutely strong. Solo raid and union raid, you need about five teams. You can't just keep aiming to build just one team that's absolutely strong moving forward. You can only use Scarlet in one team, you can only use Madonia in one team, you can only use Lita in one team, you can only use Dorothy in one team. As a burst one, there's a couple of burst one that is good, but I feel like Mary, if you think about it, could be potentially top 3 or top 4, top 5 burst 1 in terms of Union Raid and to use, because she also has a 20-second cooldown. That 20-second cooldown is insane with the heals as well. Amazing supportive character, damage buff as well. So once you've used Lita, you can't use her. Once you've used Dorothy in your second team, you can't use that. Now you need 3 other burst 1, strong burst 1 characters that you can use. Emma is actually pretty okay for heals, but she's a 40-second, and then in that team you basically need to run 2 burst 1, which is kind of annoying. And then with Pepper as well, Pepper's actually quite strong as well. You can definitely use her as your only burst 1 because she's 20-second, she has a bunch of heals as well. But I honestly think Mary's heals might be better than Pepper's one. To maximize Pepper, you need to put her with Privity. But at the same time, like, there's only a couple of burst 1 characters that you would actually use in your team. So it is actually okay, but I do think Mary is still going to be probably better to use. But anyways, yeah, there's going to be a limited amount of characters you can use, or you need to build multiple teams for solo raids, union raids. So there will be specific characters that get released in the future that might not be completely as strong as the current teams or current characters we have, but will provide some amazing buffs that allows you to build multiple teams and to help you push further in solo raid. I feel like many people, free to plays and even light spenders, the main issue in solo raid is that they only have 2 good teams. Literally only 2 good teams, and that is it. I have the same issue right now where I can only build 2 solid teams that can increase my damage over 100, and then the rest of the teams just do like 25k, 25 million. That's absolutely horrendous compared to my first 2 teams. So Mary, if you can, I feel like most of the issue you will have with the other team is surviving. And now, if we take a look at characters that can heal in game, and many people think healing is terrible. Yes, in terms of story content, you don't really need that much heals or even healer characters. Helm could be the character to use, but if you think about it, Helm is a burst free character. She doesn't provide you with damage, so you're basically losing out on very, very strong characters, strong damage dealers you could have added in your team. But in content where you need healing, arena included actually. Not joint operation, that's kind of okay. Solo raid, union raid, you're gonna need healers, and the healers you would use in honesty are like let's see, healers noise, but our cooldown is kind of too long to be sustainable and you need 2 burst 1s. Healers, like, I guess you can use her, but she has a 60-second, so most of the healers like that you could use are kind of having issues that would stop you from actually using her completely. But in terms of good healers, we have Helm, we have Helm, we have Pepper, we have Emma. Once again, Emma still has an issue with her cooldown being very, very long. So, and honestly, there's so many, like, yeah, there's not that many burst 1 characters or even healers that have decent amount of cooldown. So once you use Helm in one team, once you use Pepper in one team, once you use Emma in another team, you're gonna still require more healers. And honestly, Mary is going to be that one. And in terms of Neon, we do know that she's going to be dealing extra damage to fire enemies. In a specific content like solo raid where the enemy is fire, you're just going to need that character to deal extra damage. And in the future, if they do release more characters focused on specific mono team, that might be the current meta that Nikke is pushing for. And to mid-max your damage, yes, building a team that has mono elements will be important. Now, in terms of your overload gear as well, overload, getting like, okay, ammo capacity, that's actually terrible for this one. Getting like, that's horrible as well. Where is the character that has it? I think it's Alice who has this skill. So elemental damage dealt. Now, I feel like if they really wanted to prioritize working on elemental damage, I guess they could do this. Wait, probability info. So elemental damage is increased, or the maximum you can get is 29.17%. Flat damage is increase of attack is 14.63%. Elemental damage and attack stats, as you can see, elemental damage has an increased percentage. That means your damage can be increased a lot more than just getting a flat attack. However, obviously, if it turns out that attack stat is just obviously better than elemental stats, then I could understand why elemental stat might not be that important. But honestly, I feel like elemental damage dealt is extremely important in the late end game, where you want to mid-max your damage and rank as high as possible. Attack is good, very, very strong actually, but elemental damage might be the go-to in the near future to mid-max your damage and compete really, really high. But at the same time, if you're free to play, your main focus is probably clearing story, I guess, and not trying to rank pretty high in other contents with ranking. But it is going to be important that you actually give yourself a try to do that, or you hope to do that. So yeah, endgame content is going to be focusing on building different teams. You're going to need different teams. You can't just use your Scarlet and hope to do the strongest amount of damage or highest amount of damage. Eventually, you're going to require to build multiple teams, and characters like monocentric or characters that only have supportive skills should not be looked down upon, because they are absolutely amazing and actually makes it harder to actually power creep them in the future. Supportive characters will always be the best characters in a game in terms of sustainability and resistance to power creep. So right now, Lita, honestly, I don't even see her getting power creeped by much. So what other supportive characters do we have? Burst 2, I guess, will be the one. Blanc is insane as well. Senti, even though she only provides you with shield, is absolutely insane as well. So yeah, supportive characters should be paid attention to. Heals might be very, very important moving on in the future as well, not just your flat damage dealers. It's been your boy AC Gamer. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Tell me down in the comment section whether you agree or disagree. It's been your boy AC Gamer, and I'm out.